Respect is the foundation of every healthy relationship, personal or professional. When someone refuses to respect you, it is not only painful, but it also challenges your sense of worth. The truth is, you cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. The first and most important step in handling people who don't respect you is to learn how to recognize disrespect for what it truly is. Too often we minimize or excuse someone's behavior because we don't want to believe they are mistreating us. We tell ourselves maybe they didn't mean it, or that's just how they are. But when you constantly have to explain away someone's actions, you are ignoring what your heart already knows. This is disrespect. Disrespect doesn't always arrive in loud, obvious ways. Sometimes it comes silently through eye rolls, dismissive tones, or people constantly interrupting you as though your voice carries no weight. It shows up when your ideas are ignored until someone else repeats them and suddenly they are celebrated. It comes when someone belittles your achievements, mocks your boundaries, or makes you feel invisible in a room where you should be valued. Here's the truth. Disrespect is never a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their character. People who consistently show disrespect are often battling their own insecurities and project that onto others. Their lack of honor toward you reveals more about the state of their own heart than it ever does about yours. But if you fail to recognize it for what it is, you risk internalizing it, carrying wounds that were never meant for you. The danger of not recognizing disrespect is that it becomes normalized. If you tolerate it long enough, you start to believe that being overlooked, spoken down to, or undervalued is just the cost of keeping the peace. But peace bought at the expense of your dignity is not peace at all. It is silent suffering. So the very first way to handle those who don't respect you is to call it out internally for what it is. Say to yourself, this is not kindness, this is not love, this is not respect, and I deserve better. Because once you see it clearly, you can begin to decide how to respond with boundaries, with distance, or with courage. Recognition is power. When you recognize disrespect, you stop blaming yourself and start protecting yourself. You stop trying to win their approval and instead begin to guard your dignity. And that shift, just recognizing it, is the first step to reclaiming your strength. One of the most exhausting things you can ever do is try to prove your worth to someone who has already made up their mind not to value you. When a person refuses to see your light, no matter how brightly you shine, they will still act as if you're standing in the dark. And if you spend your life trying to convince them, you end up draining your energy on people who were never capable of appreciating you in the first place. Think about it. When someone truly respects you, you don't have to beg them to listen, to honor you, or to treat you with dignity. They do it naturally because they recognize your humanity and your value. But when someone refuses to respect you, it doesn't matter how many times you explain yourself, how many chances you give them, or how patient you are, they will still twist your words, minimize your feelings, and make you believe you're too sensitive. This is why it is so important to understand your worth is not up for debate. It does not need defending, it does not need explaining, and it certainly does not need convincing. The more you try to prove it to someone unwilling to see it, the more you risk believing that their blindness is your problem. But it isn't. Their refusal to honor you is not a lack in you, it is a lack in them. Every time you find yourself saying, if only they understood me better, or maybe if I explain it one more time, they'll change, pause and ask yourself, why am I working so hard to prove what is already true? The truth doesn't need defending, it just needs living. And your value doesn't need validation, it just needs recognition from the right people. When you stop explaining your worth to those who refuse to see it, something powerful happens. You reclaim your time, your peace, and your dignity. You stop performing for people who are committed to misunderstanding you, and you start investing in people who celebrate you without conditions. You stop chasing after those who dim your light, and you start walking with those who help you shine brighter. The moment you release the burden of trying to convince someone of your value, you free yourself from their approval. And when you no longer need their approval, their disrespect loses its power over you. So let me remind you today, stop explaining yourself to the wrong audience. The right people don't need convincing. They already see you, they already honor you, and they already respect you. And those are the people worthy of your presence. Boundaries are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign of strength, self-awareness, and self-respect. Too many of us feel guilty when we draw a line, as if protecting our peace means we are being selfish. But the truth is this: boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about protecting yourself. They are not a punishment. They are a declaration of what is healthy for you. Think of boundaries like the doors and locks on your house. You don't lock your doors because you hate the world. You lock them because you value what is inside. In the same way, you set boundaries because what is inside of you, your heart, your energy, your time, your peace, is too valuable to leave you unguarded. When someone disrespects you repeatedly, it is not enough to just recognize it or hope they change. You must make it clear where the line is and refuse to apologize for drawing it. Boundaries sound like this: I will not allow you to speak to me that way. If you continue to treat me like this, I will remove myself from this situation. My time is valuable, and I will not spend it where I am not respected. Notice something important. Boundaries are not about begging someone to change. They are about clearly communicating what you will or will not tolerate, and then following through with action if that line is crossed. The mistake many people make is apologizing for their boundaries. They say, "I'm sorry, but I can't." Or, "I hate to do this, but I need some space." That apology waters down your strength. Boundaries are not an offense. You don't need to apologize for protecting your heart any more than you need to apologize for locking your front door at night. And yes, when you set boundaries, some people will get angry. Why? Because boundaries expose who respects you and who only wants to use you. The ones who truly care will respect the line you've drawn. The ones who don't will resist, manipulate, or walk away. And as painful as that may feel, it is actually a gift because it reveals who belongs in your life and who never did. Here's the truth: people don't have to like your boundaries, but they do have to respect them if they want access to you. And if they refuse, that's their choice. Your choice is to stop apologizing and stand firm. So remember this: boundaries are an act of love, first for yourself and then for the relationship. They create clarity, they create safety, and they create respect. Without them, disrespect will always have a place to live. But when you set them with courage and without apology, you teach the world how to treat you. One of the greatest temptations when someone disrespects you is to give them back exactly what they gave you. They mock you, so you mock them. They shout, so you shout louder. They insult, so you find words sharper than theirs. On the surface, it feels like justice. It feels like you've taken your power back. But in reality, the moment you mirror their behavior, you allow them to define the rules of engagement, and you lose yourself in the process. Here's the truth: you do not have to become what disrespects you. Just because someone drags you into the mud doesn't mean you belong there. The power of self-respect is found in restraint, the ability to remain dignified even when others are trying to strip you of it. When you mirror someone's disrespect, you step out of alignment with your own values. You may win the argument, but you lose your peace. You may feel vindicated in the moment, but deep down, you know you compromised who you are just to match their energy. And in the end, it's not their behavior that damages you, it's the fact that you let their behavior change you. So what does it mean to not mirror them? It means choosing composure over chaos. It means holding your voice steady when theirs is trembling with anger. It means walking away when every part of you wants to prove a point. It means answering their disrespect not with revenge, but with boundaries and wisdom. This doesn't mean you stay silent and let people walk over you. No, silence without boundaries is submission, but silence with boundaries is power. It is the ability to say, I see what you're doing, but I will not lower myself to match it. I will not let your behavior rewrite my character. When you don't mirror their behavior, you send a message far louder than any insult could. You are telling them, you do not have control over my reactions. You do not have the power to pull me down to your level. I choose to remain who I am, no matter how you treat me. That is strength. That is respect for yourself. And here's the gift. You will find that people who thrive on disrespect get most of their satisfaction from the reaction it provokes. When you refuse to mirror them, when you remain calm, steady, and unbothered, you starve them of the attention they crave. You don't just protect your dignity, you disarm their power. So remember this, your true strength is not shown when you fight fire with fire. Your true strength is shown when you refuse to let someone else's flames consume your character. Hold your ground, keep your dignity. Don't let their behavior shape yours. Sometimes the most loving, the most respectful, and the most courageous thing you can do for yourself is create distance. Not every battle requires confrontation. Not every relationship deserves constant repair. And not every person should have unlimited access to you. When someone continues to disrespect you despite your awareness, your conversations, and your boundaries, the wisest choice may not be to stay and fight. It may be to step back and protect your peace. Here's the truth. Staying close to people who consistently dishonor you is like standing in the rain and expecting not to get wet. Over time, the constant disrespect seeps into your spirit. It chips away at your confidence, erodes your self-esteem, and makes you start questioning whether you deserve more. That's what constant damage does. It doesn't always break you in one moment. It slowly drains you until you feel like a shadow of who you used to be. Distance is not always about punishment. It's about preservation. It is not fueled by hate, but by wisdom. You can love someone deeply and still decide that closeness to them is dangerous for your emotional health. You can forgive someone completely and still recognize that reconciliation is not safe. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, but access is a privilege they must earn. Too often we stay where we are disrespected because we fear being alone, or we hope that time will fix what words and actions have not. But ask yourself this, how many more days, months, or years can I afford to lose to someone who does not honor me? The longer you remain, the more you teach them that disrespect has no consequence. Distance is not abandonment, it is accountability. And let me be clear, distance does not always mean cutting someone off forever. Sometimes it looks like limiting how often you see them. Sometimes it looks like shorter conversations, fewer details, shared, or no longer allowing them into the sacred parts of your life. Distance has levels, but whatever form it takes, it is a declaration that your dignity matters more than constant damage. When you choose distance, you create space for healing, you create room for peace, and you give yourself the chance to breathe again without constantly bracing for the next insult, the next dismissal, the next wound. In that space, you begin to remember who you are apart from their treatment of you. You reclaim your voice, your joy, and your strength. So never feel guilty for walking away from what hurts you. Distance is not weakness, it is wisdom. You are not responsible for fixing those who refuse to change. You are only responsible for guarding your heart, protecting your spirit, and choosing relationships that nourish rather than destroy. Remember this, peace is expensive, and sometimes the price you have to pay is distance from those who refuse to respect you. The greatest danger of disrespect is not what it does on the outside, it's what it can do on the inside. When someone consistently treats you with dishonor, mocks your boundaries, or makes you feel invisible, the real risk is that you start to believe their treatment reflects your worth. And once you internalize their disrespect, you begin to carry a weight that was never meant for you. Think about it. Every word spoken against you, every dismissive action, every mocking tone, it is like a seed being planted. If you're not careful, those seeds begin to grow inside of you. You start hearing their voice in your own head. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I don't deserve better. Maybe they're right about me. And without realizing it, you end up living under the shadow of someone else's brokenness. Here's the truth you must never forget. Their disrespect is not a mirror of your value. It is a reflection of their own wounds, insecurities, and fears. People who cannot see your worth are often blind to their own. People who dishonor others usually lack peace within themselves. What they project onto you says far more about the state of their heart than it ever says about who you are. But if you don't separate their behavior from your identity, you risk carrying their poison as your truth. That's why it's so important to build a shield inside of you, a shield of self-worth that blocks their arrows from piercing your heart. When they say you're not enough, your shield says, I am more than enough. When they try to belittle you, your shield says, I will not shrink to make you comfortable. One powerful way to avoid internalizing disrespect is to constantly remind yourself of your values and your identity. Write it down, say it aloud, surround yourself with people who affirm it. I am worthy of respect. I am valuable. I am deserving of kindness. These reminders become anchors that hold you steady when others try to pull you into their storm. Another important step is forgiveness, not for their sake, but for yours, because holding on to the pain of their disrespect only ties you to the weight of it. Forgiving doesn't mean excusing what they did. It means refusing to let their behavior live inside of you rent-free. It's choosing to let go so you can move forward, lighter and freer. So never internalize their disrespect. Don't let their behavior convince you to shrink, to question your worth, or to see yourself through the lens of their brokenness. Remember who you are. Hold on to your truth. Their disrespect belongs to them. It was never yours to carry. When people disrespect you, one of their hidden aims is to shake your ground. They want to make you question yourself, to doubt your worth, and to lose your sense of direction. They want you to abandon your values so you can meet them on their level. But here's the truth. The strongest way to respond to disrespect is not by lowering yourself. It's by standing firm in who you are. Your values are your anchor. They are the principles that guide your life, the standards that define your behavior, and the compass that keeps you aligned with your true self. Values like honesty, kindness, integrity, courage, and self-respect, they are not just nice words. They are the foundation that keeps you steady when storms of disrespect try to shake you. When someone disrespects you, it's tempting to fight back in a way that betrays your values. They lie, so you feel tempted to lie back. They insult, so you want to hit them with words even sharper. They play dirty, so you consider lowering your standards just to win. But when you do that, you don't really win. You just lose yourself in the process, and the victory is hollow. Standing firm in your values doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It doesn't mean you stay silent or passive. It means you confront the situation in a way that reflects your principles, not their chaos. It means you can say, I won't tolerate this treatment without becoming cruel. It means you can walk away from a toxic environment without bitterness because you refuse to carry poison in your heart. The truth is, people will test your values. They will push, they will provoke, they will try to see how much disrespect you will tolerate before you snap. But every time you stand your ground, calm, clear, and confident, you show them something powerful. I cannot be moved by your behavior. I know who I am, and I will not compromise that. Here's what's even more beautiful. When you stand firm in your values, you inspire others to do the same. Your consistency becomes a light in a world full of people who bend under pressure. You show that strength is not in reacting louder, but in standing taller. So let this be your reminder. Never let someone's disrespect pull you away from your values. Don't compromise who you are to match who they are. Integrity will always outlast disrespect. And in the end, what will matter most is not how they treated you, but how you chose to respond. After everything we've said about disrespect, recognizing it, refusing to explain yourself, setting boundaries, creating distance, and standing firm in your values, there is one final powerful truth. You need to surround yourself with people who honor you. Respect is not just about removing what's toxic. It's also about choosing what's healthy. You were not created to live in constant defense, always guarding yourself from harm. You were created for connection, belonging, and relationships where you can let your guard down because you know you are safe. Think about the people in your life. Of who truly see you, the ones who celebrate your wins without envy, who sit with you in your struggles without judgment, who respect your no as much as your yes. These are the people who remind you that you don't have to fight for your dignity. It's already given freely. Being around them feels like breathing fresh air after being suffocated by negativity. When you invest in relationships with people who honor you, your self-worth is reinforced daily. You don't have to second-guess your value because it is reflected back to you through their actions. They listen when you speak, they care about how you feel, and they treat your boundaries not as barriers, but as signs of mutual respect. In their presence, you are not drained, you are renewed. This is why your circle matters. If you constantly surround yourself with those who disrespect you, over time, you begin to normalize mistreatment. But if you choose to walk with people who honor you, your standard for what is acceptable rises. You stop tolerating crumbs when you know you deserve the feast of genuine love and respect. And let me add this. Sometimes the people who honor you may not be many. You don't need a crowd, you need a community. Even 2 or 3 people who truly value you are worth more than 100 who secretly envy or belittle you. Quality always matters more than quantity when it comes to relationships. So ask yourself, who in my life makes me feel small and who makes me feel seen? Who drains me and who strengthens me? Who questions my worth and who reminds me of it? Your answers will tell you exactly where to invest your energy. Remember,